So Ray, we're here to talk about Liverpool 2018-19 diary of a season. Turned out to be not a bad season, didn't it?
Well, it turned out an incredible season for them, but also one that was so close to being a disappointment to all. You know, in the end, it all hinged on, the Champions League final, because they'd had a magnificent season, 97 points, lost one game all season, and in any league in the world, apart from the Premiership at the moment, that would win the title. Of course, it didn't happen, and then it puts extra pressure on winning the Champions League. And of course, they won it probably not in the style they would like to have won it, but they won it, and probably the year will be remembered for the comeback against Barcelona.
Were there any sort of divided loyalties for you out in Madrid? Because obviously you spent a lot of time at Spurs as well.
Oh, of course, in terms of, I love my time at Tottenham. I've still got many great friends there. I still work there on match days, and it was difficult for me. But at the end of the day, I think and hope that most Tottenham supporters would recognise that although I had sort of 12 years at Tottenham, 7 as a player and 5 as a coach, I had 14 years at Liverpool as a player, and I was lucky enough to win everything there was to win in the 11 and a half, 12 years I was in the first team. So most of the things I know about football have come from that spell at Liverpool. So Liverpool was always going to be the team I wanted to win, but if Tottenham won it, it wouldn't be the end of the world for me.
And your final game was a European Cup final, wasn't it, I believe?
It was. My final game for Liverpool was a European Cup final in '81 in Paris against Real Madrid, and we won it 1-0. So most people listening to this say, well, actually, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. And now, the next stage, obviously, for Liverpool has to be to win that Premier League title, doesn't it? Can they do that this season, do you think, next season?
Well, it's going to be a battle again, that's a certainty. I look at the league at this moment, and of course there's still probably a lot of signings that happen from all the top six clubs at the moment. But I look at the squads at the moment and I see the top 2 being the top 2. And the others find it out for the next 4 places basically. And people like Wolves and Leicester, possibly Everton, that might start challenging for those top 6 places. But in terms of at this moment, I can't see anything outside of those top 2. So it will be a battle royale again between the 2 of them. Hopefully Liverpool can come out and top. Tottenham, I think, are the nearest to challenging, but it depends on what money Pochettino is given and what players he can get in. Obviously they've got a magnificent stadium now. Pochettino is a great coach, stroke manager, and they've got a talented team there, but they need a number of players to maybe strengthen that squad.
Could Spurs take some consolation from looking at Liverpool and saying, well, they were runners-up last year, they went ahead and did it, they added a couple of players that made a difference? Could that make Tottenham a challenger again?
Well, you hope they'll be up challenged then, because the more people challenge it, the better it is for us all to watch it. But you look at Tottenham and they finished 20 odd points behind third place, so it's a lot to make up. And having said that, I think Liverpool maybe 2 or 3 years ago also finished 20 odd points adrift of the leaders. So they've managed to make it up and compete, so there's no reason why anybody else can't.
And of course 2 big signings that really made a difference. Virgil van Dijk first, and then Alisson, a goalkeeper, obviously your position. How good is he in terms of the world goalkeepers now?
Oh, he's top quality. Him and the Man City keeper are probably as good as anything around at the moment. And he's had a massive influence at Liverpool. The 2 of them have. I watched them the season before last, and they were still as exciting attacking-wise as they were this season. But you always felt they needed 2 goals to score to win a game. At 1-0, you always thought they might concede a goal. This year, with the addition of those 2, I think once they get 1-0 in front, I think they can win the game, as they proved in the Champions League final.
Yeah, there was no rush for them. They probably knew they could hold that lead and then get the second as it panned out.
Well, I'm saying I don't think they played like that. I think they looked a tired side in the final. They got the first goal, which is a massive boost for them. There will always be controversy whether it was or wasn't a penalty. But it put them in front, and it gave them a foundation which they should have built from, and in fact probably didn't. But because of their organisation, and because of Van Dijk made 3 or 4 excellent saves, Alisson made 3 or 4 excellent saves in the second half, because I sat there watching it and I thought, if Tottenham score here, they'll win it.
Yeah.
Because Liverpool looked a side that were running out of legs.
And the final was played 3 weeks after the end of the Premier League season. Do you think that needs to be shortened?
Yeah.
That didn't help, did it?
100% that needs to be shortened. You know, players are governed, their minds and their bodies are governed to be playing every 3 or 4 days. They moan about it, they say they get tired, but that's the way they like to play. Every 3 or 4 days they play. And of course, all of a sudden to have a situation where the league's finished and they've now got 3 weeks to wait for the biggest game of the season for. It's too long. It's wrong. It should, you know, how you shorten it, I'm not sure, but there has to be a way to get that to sort of 10 days or something like that.
Now, you played under the great Liverpool managers. Where does Jurgen Klopp fit into this? I know in the foreword of the book he said his message to Liverpool fans is this is not the end of the story, it's just the beginning. Can you lead Liverpool to a real era of greatness, do you think?
Well, again, I think all Liverpool supporters hope so. They've got faith in him. You know, he's had 4 years at the club, in which, you know, most managers don't get 4 years at any club these days. So the club itself and the fans of that club, they've got great faith in him. They've got an affinity with him. He shows a passion for the club. And he's built a team from, say, 3 or 4 years ago that were 20-odd points behind the leaders to a side that just lost by a point this year. So I know next year won't be any easier because you know, everybody wants to beat people who have either been champions or cup winners, whatever. But the one thing they've got now is they've got the monkey off their back. They've actually won something, and that's a massive thing. So we'll see what signings take place. I think everybody has to make signings. If you stand still, people go past you. It's as simple as that. So I think there will be some signings, and there'll be a massive competition between them, Man City, and if they can win the league next year, then that is a stepping stone to go on and win things season after season, and hopefully be like the teams that I was in, where we were competing for 3 things probably every year and winning 2 of them.
And then just finally, VAR comes into the Premier League next season. We've seen in the Women's World Cup, they're using it to judge whether the goalkeeper moves. Is that right? Is that too severe? I mean, how would you have liked that in your days?
I think it's too severe for the goalkeepers. I think that you know, it's difficult enough for a goalkeeper to save it in the first place. You've got half a second to react from when the ball leaves the spot till it goes past you in the net. So I think it's really harsh the way the goalkeepers are being treated. And I think VAR, yes, it is for the good of the game, but I think they've got to be very careful how they use it, or they're going to mess up the game, because it's taking too long to make decisions with VAR at the moment.